Welcome friends. My name is Nanan. I spent more than 12 years in software development industry working as a developer and project manager. I hope this conversation is going to be helpful for you if you are preparing yourself for a front-end developer role. In fact, there are many courses available on the internet about the front-end development, but the main point is that when you started learning something, it is so boring you feel like sleepy. So this course is going to be a kind of conversation. It is experience sharing. So I'm not going to show you the code, do these things for showing the image, to write this kind of code, for showing a list of items. So no basics thing, but obviously we'll discuss some basic questions that generally a front-end developer face when they sit for an interview. Okay, so without further ado, I want to start a conversation. How can you revise all the important skills of HTML and front-end related technologies? Because nowadays when we think about H for hypertext, hyper, T for text, M for markup, and L for language. But it is not a computer language. It is a markup technique that is used for creating web page. So it is a very basic tutorial. So we are not going to use too much complex technical terms. My main goal is to deliver the concept relevant to HTML. So this is my first online tutorial. So I know that there will be a little bit of here and there error and mistake. My name is Naran. I spent more than 10 years in software development and I have experience of teaching as well. So today we are going to discuss about HTML markup. We all use web pages every day in various formats like social media and website for any information. When we browse something on the internet, generally we browse a web page. Okay, HTML is the language of creating that web page. Like generally when we see some sort of web page, it is a kind of box format. We see there is some logo, there is some navigation item, and then we see a banner about the site and image. If the site has some sort of information like product, then we see the products are listed there. For example, it is a doctor's website or a cake shop website. We see their opening hours, and we see a footer information where we see the contact information, etc. So this structure of a website is defined by HTML. Plus you also need a little bit of CSS knowledge, or CSS stand for Cascade Style Sheet, and CSS knowledge is necessary for styling the website. So we'll try to learn the basics first, and then one by one we'll move to advanced stage. And after this class, maybe it is not possible to cover everything of HTML in just one class. Will continue in future, but it will give you some idea about this particular knowledge area. Okay, so dear friend, let's move to our next slide. So in this particular tutorial, we are going to cover few areas. What are these areas? First, we'll discuss about the idea of HTML. I think we have already discussed why HTML is required and what is HTML. If you learn HTML, then you can design a web page, you can develop a web page. Okay, and this is the first step towards learning website design and development, and maybe in future you can create your own web page. Okay, I think the sound is audible. And okay, so what is HTML? what is the requirement, why we need HTML, we have discussed all those points. Now a document, an HTML document, we will discuss about HTML heading documents. We will discuss about body, tags, links, container, form, one by one. So we are first going to create our environment for HTML development. So you need a software for that, free software called VS Code. VS Code is a free open source software by Microsoft. You can download it and you can install it on your PC. And depending on your device like Linux or Mac, you can get various version. So click on the download. I have already downloaded and installed it. So I hope it will not a problem downloading a software and installing it on your PC, because it is very simple graphical user interface. Just click on next, and it will be installed. Once you install this, it will open like this. Okay, so here we have a sample HTML page, and if you already installed this VS Code, or then one extension is necessary, which is called live server. Live server, you can search this extension in the search box, and live servers allows you at creating a server on your local PC, and you can open the HTML on your browser like a website. For example, this, when you click on the live server button, it will open the page on the browser. So here I have created this page, and simple page, and I'm clicking on the live server button. Click to live server, then it opens the HTML page on my browser. It will open the default browser. So we are dividing the whole screen into two parts. One is browser and another is our VS Code, so that we can see the changes on the browser. I know this layout is not a very professional layout, but it is good for starting. Okay, so first we are going to check the tags, HTML tag. This one is the document type tag. This tag is necessary for defining the document type. When you are using this tag, you are actually instructing the browser that this particular page is a HTML5 page, HTML5 document. Okay, and before that, suppose you do not have this particular software, and you have only the notepad available in your PC. In that case, you can also create a HTML page. Here I am creating a test folder, test1, and inside this, suppose I have only the basic notepad, which is a default software with your Windows, this note. So I'm saving a file, save as, suppose here I'm writing hello world. Okay, and I'm saving this particular file, save as, in this folder test1 as, I'm selecting all type and saving as index.html. Okay, so I'm saving this as an HTML file. Now if I open this file with my browser, I can see this hello world. Now in this notepad, if I use a tag, HTML tag h1 and h1 close, this is closing of h1 tag, and save it, and at the same time I refresh this page, I can see this particular text is showing in a format like a headline. Now I can add some paragraph. This is a test page, save, it is showing a paragraph text. Now in case of notepad, it is little bit difficult when you are editing this text. Generally it do not provide any guidance to developer about any kind of mistake or what type of text it is, whether it is an element or a information or not. So in that case, this IDE, integrated development environment, provide you this kind of coloring and little bit of suggestion when you are typing a new page. I'm creating a test page here. In Visual Studio, you get very nice panel for exploring the folder where you have placed the file, and you can create instantly a page. I'm creating a test page here, test.html. Here in this test.html, you can see these are like tab, your browser tab. I'm right now opening the test.html and typing here the tab, and it is the doc type is there. I'm typing just HTML. It is giving me suggestion, and then I'm pressing tab close automatically. There is two sections. One is the head and another is the body. So in simple terms, one HTML page has two parts. One is the head and body. Inside head section, we write some information that are not visible on your web page. Okay, so I am writing here a title test page, and I'm writing here a body text, say H1 my blog post, say, and I'm clicking on the port go live. I can see this post is showing in headline size, bigger size font, and this text is showing here, and the URL is some IP based URL due to this server extension. Now let's move to our slides. We want to discuss about the headline related tags. One of the best resource for HTML is HTML live documentation. Here, HTML spec. HTML spec documentation provide a detail of latest document or specification about HTML. Okay, regarding environment, I can tell you one more thing. If you think that your browser is not, suppose you are not capable to install this particular software for any reason, you can use the code pen. Suppose you do not have the laptop, you have only mobile phone to learn HTML. In that case, you can use CodePen.io, which is a live editor where you can create your coding at without any IDE. So we are not going to discuss this. That is browser-based editor for HTML. Okay, so here is the latest documentation available about HTML. Here we are going to see the introduction. What is HTML5? A little bit background. Let us discuss based on this document. Then it will be easy for us. So here, remember this URL HTML5 spec. You can find these using whatwg. If you search whatwg.org, then you can get this information. We are not going to discuss everything about the history, because in first thing first, open w3 school/html tutorial page. Try to just revise all the techniques that generally a basic front-end developers know, and let's see how fast I can revise that. I'm not going to read all these things, just try to remember all these things. What is the basic structure of an HTML? The header section, the body section, and then you are starting with a doc type HTML, as it is the HTML5 page. Then you need an editor for that. You can use Notepad, Notepad++, there are VS Code, whichever tools you like, or you can use the paid softwares like Adobe Dreamweaver, and how to install it, how to configure it. Maybe if you are using a Mac, maybe you are working in a software development company where all the devices are Mac, then in that case text editor is required, and you need to know a little bit of shortcuts. The basic HTMLs is very simple. When I started learning basic HTML, it was 2005, and we at that time we were using iframe for the top navigations, for the side navigation, and then on the iframe one page is there. I know the software, you people don't know these because this is obsolete right now. It was a front page, Microsoft front page. It was very easy to create a page using the like visual things, and then I don't know why Microsoft stopped that particular software, and later I think they created expression engine, this kind of tools, but I didn't use that expression engine. And let us revise the elements like header element. I'm telling the name, and if you are a beginner level learner, then you can remember all this. Can you tell me a little bit about what is attribute and what is tag? What is the difference? Actually, attribute is a part of a tag, and then when a tag started, then you give some name of the attribute and the value. Like in case of link, the attribute is href and the value is the URL. Okay, if you can answer confidently this kind of explanation during an interview, easily your interviewer will understand that he has the basic knowledge. But the question is that, is he capable to deliver our complex design into a working HTML? How you can add animation on this page, nothing important relevant to the tags like paragraph, headlines, and adding color on the font. How can you add font? If there is two option, font color, there is two option. You can add inline CSS, external CSS. For inline CSS, you have to use the attribute style, and within this style you can add properties. So these things are very common. Just I'm revising this thing. You know a road, and you already travel from one place A to place B once upon a time, and if you want to travel the same road using a different time, I mean, you already went to a place, and you are revisiting that place, then you can easily remember all the spot that you watched during these travels. The revision is like this, like when you are just checking all those points once again, I will find that yes, these are easy. I don't need to be worried about all those tags. Like when you need to use the block code, if you want to show some text differently compared to other, then we use block code. Similarly, there are other attributes like address, and then site, CITE, site. Okay, so the some little bit of unknown tags are there, like BDO. I don't know BDO, why video is used for. You can check on the internet. ABBR, I don't know. I know the ABBR for the abbreviations. Okay, you can also use some HTML comments, and comments start with a angular bracket and an exclamatory sign, then double slash, and then after completing the comment, you again you don't double slash, double hyphen. So after the comment, you use the double hyphen, and then again a close angular bracket. So comment part is clear. The exclamation sign is only in the starting point, remember, not in the ending point. Okay, HTML colors, you can use the direct name of the color, but very few colors are there. For that, you can use the hexadecimal value or RBG. RGB, sorry, RGB stand for red, green and blue. So for RGB color, like background color colon RGB, then we use some sort of values like 255, 99 and 70. This kind of colors are. What is the difference if I use RBG color or hexa color, HEX hexa color? This is a matter of research, but here I think we can skip this, because it will make this tutorial more boring than. Are you getting benefited from this conversation? Because I think if I demonstrate things on the screen and then do something on my computer, you can watch this, but it will not make it interesting, because after this conversation definitely you will visit these websites like W2AC and or other tutorials. Then you will see that okay, it took a lot of time. It is easy, not so difficult. Why I spent a lot of time in this kind of conversation. So dear friend, so no one is going to teach you the basics of computer when you have some planning to jump into the front-end development and starting web page design, and your basic computer skills is very important. So understanding how to fix a little bit of trouble that you generally face when a particular software is not functioning well, like there is some default plugin or add-on is installed on your browser, and due to that it is adding some additional JavaScript on your screen, and then when you are saving this code, you are adding this additional JavaScript, and then your output is not functioning well. I faced this kind of problem when I was creating an HTML page for an email template, and then my antivirus, which especially it was Kaspersky, was adding some additional JavaScript link on the page, and then I just copy and paste this code from the source view and paste them on the email marketing software. It was I think MailChimp or something like that, like Spring or Shark Spring, yeah. So the output was not output was showing some sort of glitch and or some sort of problem, and then I realized that okay, it was the computer knowledge that okay. So observing this code is very important. Observing this code and taking decision based on this situation is very important for any front-end developer. So let's have a quiz now. Just checking your knowledge about HTML. How can you add a link so that when your user clicking on that link and it is redirecting the page on the same page, or redirecting the user to on the same page on a different section of the page, like clicking on a particular link, the page is automatically scrolled down on the footer section. How can you do this? Very simple. Just you know the answer. Okay, just adding a ID, like in the footer section, add an ID and link that particular text with a hash and ID name. In case of href, if you in the href value, you just add the hash and the ID name. That's it. So you can, if you want to send your user to a specific section of another page, then add the URL, exact URL, reference URL, and then after this URL, place this hashtag and the ID name, and then you can send your user to a specific section of the page. And how can you add a Fav icon on the page? For general question, it's a general question. Generally, you face this kind of question in interview, like what is a Fav icon? So Fav Icon is a small image that shows on the title bar, and that helps a user to identify a page uniquely. And Fav Icon is generally an image file with an extension and .ico, or you can use .png as well. So Fav icons are called the identifier of the page, and you can use a link tag for adding a Fav icon link rel icon, and then type image / x hyphen icon, and then the URL href attribute, the URL of the image. So is it possible to remember the whole code when you are doing interval? Just remember the tag that is important for adding the icon, like your link. Then the attributes are the href for the file name, the file type is image / x hyphen icon, and the rel value is icon. Table is most important knowledge area for any HTML developer. Although table was earlier the main element for the structure of the page, but now all the HTML pages generally use a div for the structure, and table is generally used for showing showing the data in tabulated form. So table has a lot of attributes, and doing some experiment with a table is very important. You can draw any kind of boxes, random boxes, and try to convert that design into HTML page using tables. And here the problem is that your table has so many attributes like borders, then the size of the table, then you can set width of any column, and how to use style attribute in table, understanding the table header section and table body section, adding paired and spacing. So paired and spacing are two important concept relevant to the tables. So generally in the CSS you set the value of th and td, like padding 15 means all the th and td cells will use padding of 15, means there will be a padding difference between the text content and the border of the cell is 15 pixel. You can set different properties for different part, like it is like in clockwise position, like top, bottom, then left, right, or you can use spacing like border spacing. You can check this code how to use border spacing in case of a table. And sometimes when you are reading table related information in HTML tutorial, you feel boring. It's a boring conversation because there are various type of things are available. Let me show you a little bit of different table sizes that generally you face this kind of sizes. So can you create a table like this? I think it is a little bit of difficult task, but not so difficult if you do a little bit of experiment with some code. And how to add some sort of styling in the table. When you are dealing with the frameworks like Bootstrap, you'll find various type of default styles are available. So what is the day-to-day activities of an HTML developer or front-end developer? Yeah, he just deal with some designers just give him it in any format. Maybe it is a Figma file, it is a Adobe XD file, or for PSD file, Photoshop document file, or sketch file. You don't know what kind of format it will be there. Depending on this file format, if you are a Windows user, then chances is that you cannot edit a sketch file on your Windows. You need a Mac device for that. So first thing is slicing. You are slicing all the images, and doing part by part, like header section, then the footer section, main body of the page. So in this phase you will find tasks like editing the images, creating some sort of removing the background of an image because you want to add some sort of effect. And the flow is like that. You are first dealing with the structure, then doing the styling part, and after that you are dealing with the animation part or JavaScript part. That is very important. Then next important attribute is list. List means ULLI. If you want to show something in ordered style, like 1 2 3 number, then use OL as of ordered list, and unordered list ULI. Most of the beginner level developer face a problem that when they place a ULI in the particular HTML page, how to remove that circle, list circle from the item is a challenge for them. And it is very simple. You use the inline style, and the property is list style type. List style type is none, then it will show no no dot sign before the list item. Okay, it is not so difficult. You'll find the solution if you're searching on the internet how to remove this. You need to know the specific keyword for searching this. You'll find information on Stack Overflow or W3C, and if you already know these stacks, then your coding speed will be faster. And if you need to find out the reference code time to time when you are doing your coding, then it will be a little bit slow work. The difference between the block level element and inline element is a very common interview question when you enter into an HTML development kind of interview. So what are the major block level elements like address, article, aside, block code, and canvas, and div, OL, P, so many sections, then table, then UL, video, main, and figure, caption, nab. All those items are block level items. Block level items are always start with a new line, and the browser automatically add some space after completing this block. So space means a margin. It adds some margin, additional margin. And inline elements are just opposite. Inline elements are like a tag, then b, then select, then small, span, then the strong, sub for the subscript, then SAMP. Do you know why SAMP is used? SAMP is used for the program output on your HTML page. It is a very common interview question. SAMP. What is the meaning of SAMP? The next level knowledge is about dealing with the class and the ID. For any section, for any div, you can add an attribute called class and name a unique name for the class. And if you set some property for this class, you can reuse it again and again. That is a beauty. That is the beauty of CSS coding. And if you use a particular class like body paragraph or class name, using a lot of class name is a part of creating a new web page. And if you use ID instead of class as an attribute, then this particular property will be unique throughout the page. And in a page you can use ID for one time. You cannot use ID multiple time like class. Okay, very straightforward, simple question. What is the use of iframe? Iframe, as I discussed earlier, in the earlier days I use iframe, but do not make your answer like round and round. Instead, just straightforward answer the question. What is iframe? If you want to display another web page on your page, then we use the tag iframe. Very simple question. So iframe has some attributes, like you can set the width of the page, you can add some title, and you need the URL of the page. You can use a page from your website or other website. In fact, you can show Google on your website in on some area, but some website will not allow to show their content on an iframe. Then in that case, your customer, your client will ask you that show me that particular website on my page, but when you are using the tag, it is not showing on the page, because in that case the URLs are IP specific. That means depending on your website IP address, it will not show the content. So remember this particular logic, otherwise it will sometimes help you. Now, a little bit of interesting interview question. Like on a page, you have an iframe and there is a link below, and you want to show another page on the same iframe by clicking the link at the bottom of the icon, bottom of the iframe. In that case, what you will do? Very simple. There is a property for the iframe, and it is called target. Just name the iframe, like when you are placing the iframe at the first place, and then add an attribute called name and call it something like top iframe or anything, and use this same name. Just remember that name should be one word, and just place this name in an attribute called target in any link. So if you are using the target attribute in a link, so the target will find this particular iframe and it will show the URL on that particular target. So how to use target in a tech is a nice interview question. In fact, if I am taking your interview, I'll ask this question. Now it's time to discuss a little bit about JavaScript. If you want to use JavaScript on an HTML page, you can use the script tag anywhere on this page, and within the script write your JavaScript code. And suppose there is a ID called deep ID demo, and you want to change the content of this ID using some text like hello world. And remember this JavaScript code, like document dot get ID, get element by ID, then write the ID name within parentheses, and then dot inner HTML. Without watching this kind of text, remembering the, without practicing this, remembering this is a little bit of difficult thing, but if you know the references and you are practicing this again and again, it will not difficult, because you know how to write this code. And when you are writing something, your text editor will give you some sort of suggestions. So document means you are selecting the whole document, and get element by ID, as I understand that it is, this particular code is specifically targeting one ID. And dot inner HTML means it is selecting the inner HTML of this ID, and you are setting a string as value of this inner HTML, and then replacing it. So when the page is loading, looking at the script tag, it is changing the inner HTML of the ID. And that is the concept and understanding behind how to work with the JavaScript. Some common use of JavaScript is manipulating content of a particular ID, adding some form validation or some dynamic changes on the content. But from this is the basic understanding. Obviously, JavaScript is playing a major role in creating animation, creating some advanced level effects on your HTML page. Again, another interview question. This conversation is going to give you some revision on your HTML knowledge. So if you are a little bit of beginner level developer, then this conversation is going to help you testing your code knowledge. Okay, so my next question is, what is the use of NoScript? Very interesting. Suppose you are using some HTML code using the script tag, and the particular browser is not allowing JavaScript code. You are using JavaScript using script, starting with script and closing with script. Inside that you are writing very complex JavaScript, and the browser of the particular client is not supporting JavaScript. In that case, you can add a NoScript tag after the script and write that your browser does not support JavaScript. So as a result, it will not show this kind of message, and the user will understand that he needs to enable the JavaScript of his browser. Now the next question is, what is the difference between the absolute file path and the relative file path? When you are adding some file in your web page as an image, like source image source file, you can use two type of URL: exact URL, that is www your website / image folder, then the file name, or you can use only the folder name and the images / folder. If the particular page is located on a directory where images is a subfolder of this directory, then you can write only image / the image file name. If it is the image file is located in a different subdirectory, then you can use .. So the best practice is to use the relative path instead of the exact path. Otherwise, when you are moving your site from one server to another server, it will show some sort of image error due to path of the file. In this tutorial, we are going to cover the basics of HTML so that you can learn the tag instead of learning history. You can read about history. A computer scientist, a physicist, Tim Berners-Lee discovered the HTML, and it is not so old technology. And during the 90s, it was first commercially used as HTML. Okay, now we are going to check the elements of HTML and syntax. So dear friend, here you can see I'm magnifying the font a little so that you can see this. So here the first tag, these are called tags. The first tag is denoting that this particular page is a HTML page. Earlier in HTML4 version, this tag was a little long and more specifications were there. Now it is short. Now there is two section. Look at this. It is like a tree structure. So this is head. Inside head there is a title, and we have we can display the title here. Then this one is the body part. Inside body there is a h1 tag and a paragraph tag. Inside the paragraph tag, there is another tag for hyperlink. This one is called hyperlink. Hyperlinks mean you can link another file to a text, and when someone click on that link, it redirects the user to that destination. Okay, so here in this particular example, we have created two pages here. One index page and another is test page. So when here we can see in the browser, we have this test page. We are creating here a link to index page. So I'm creating here a link P for paragraph, and I'm adding a paragraph. This is a test page, and in the word we are adding a link on the text test page. How? You know, in MS Word we can also add some link. I'm showing you. I think you are already familiar with MS Word. I'm showing this in this way, then people are capable to understand relating. This is a test. Suppose you want to test page, you want to add a link on test page, link to say Google website. So selecting this page and you are pressing insert link, hyperlink. Look at this, hyperlink or Control K, and you are typing this address http://www.google.com. Then when you click on this particular page, it redirects you to Google. Similarly, we can create a link on this page. For that, we'll need to use a tag a tag. So inside a tag, we are placing this text, and inside the tag, we are adding some attribute. A tag is the anchor text, and we are adding attribute ahref, and inside a quotation mark, we are adding this URL www.google.com, but we were planning to link our index page, so we can add the file name index.html and then save. Now visit this page, refresh. When we are clicking this test page, it is redirecting us to the index page. Okay, so we understand the use of hyperlink in this particular section. So where we are, just quick introduction. Okay, so each tag has two parts. One is the start tag and the end tag. For example, body, this angle bracket and body is a tag, and it is the start tag, and its end tag is similar. Just one exception is there is a backslash. With this backslash, you are actually denoting that this particular tag is close. So you can see this H1 has a close tag, P has a close tag, A has a close tag, but there are few tags that has no closing tag. We'll discuss about it. Now using a tag like strong, we can make one page, one text strong. Like suppose in this paragraph, in this page, you can see this sample text is showing in bold size. Look at the code. How can we see the code of this text? You can use the shortcut Control U, and you can view the HTML code of a page. You can do this for any website. Control U, and you can see the source view. Here in this sample text, you can see the strong tag is applied. That is why this sample text is showing in bold. Okay, now remember this Control U, and you can see the source code of a page. When you start a tag, you have to close that tag first. So here in this particular code sample, just I'm showing you the nested quality of a HTML tag. Just for explaining, look at this. Here you can see that this em tag is started here and it is ended here. And before ending this particular tag, we have used another tag which is called strong. So it is a wrong process. This is not correct. The correct process is like this. That means when you are starting one tag, you have to close it. And it is like in a nested item like this. When you starting say body, you have to close the body. When you are starting say H1, you have to close H1 first. So it is a kind of nested tags. Okay, dear friend. So we understand. Look at the structure of a HTML tag. Once again, this one is called hyperlink. Here, this whole element is a tag, and this sample is the content of the tag. This whole one is called the tag. This has a starting tag and a closing tag, and this particular information is known as the attribute. So in a tag, you can use many attributes. Okay, look at this diagram. Here, this is known as the document object model. Let me explain this part. If we look at the HTML document, you will find that it is like a tree structure. When we draw a family tree, like someone was our forefather, and then there are some parents and the children, these, and then they have again children's, so they are grandchildren. Okay, the relationship with this person with that person is like grandchildren, these are direct children. So here we can also see a kind of relationship. It is like a tree. This document type HTML, which this one is the whole HTML document, and it has two parts, like one is header, another is the body. Inside head there is a title, again inside body there is a child like h1 p and comments ahref. Okay, so this is known as the document object model. In any HTML document you will find all the elements are like childs. Okay, this is a very important concept. It will helpful for in future when you will use CSS or JavaScript. Now our slide shows we are discussing about heading, document heading. In a document I need a little more text so that it looks, the page looks little large. Okay, so I'm adding additional text here and refreshing this page, the test page. Okay, so we have added some sample text and the text length is more right now. Okay, and now we want some paragraph heading here, so we can use four type of headings. The headings are like h1, h2, h3, h4, h5 and h6. Generally up to h5 is good enough. So you can see the difference between h1 and h2 is a little less in font size. So h1 is getting more priority, so that's why you are giving the highest size of font size of the page to h1, and the lowest font size is given to h6 or h5. Okay, so these are the heading related tags, h1, h2, h3. Now we want to discuss about the body related. Here is a little recap. What is HTML? We already know that HTML is a hypertext markup language. We understood the page structure. We understand the text, tags and element. So our next question is, what is the difference between tags and elements? It is sometimes a interview question as well. What is the difference between tags and elements? We already understood what is attribute. I think you need to Google it for that. What is tags and element? I'm taking giving you some time so that you can think that what is HTML elements and what is HTML tag. You can pause the you cannot pause this video because it is live. Okay, so an HTML tag is a component of a HTML document that tells the browser how to structure and interpret that part of the page. Okay, I'm explaining this. For example, we have a tag. We have a tag here and it has href, and within href we have an address like test file, and it is applied to page, and this is close. Here this a tag is a tag and this is closing tag of this tag. This whole a tag is used on this particular content page. So href is a tag, ahref is a tag and page is a content, and this whole part is called element. This one is called the tag, this one is also called tag. This one is the content, and the whole part is known as element. That means one page is consist of many elements. One HTML page is consist of many elements. It may be an image, maybe a paragraph, a headline, or a form. Okay. And what is attribute? We understood what is attribute. In each tag you can use many attributes. For example, this a tag is containing ahref. Okay. One more thing, HTML is not case sensitive. That means if for any reason if I use h1 in capital, it will make no change in my code, in my output. Okay, just refreshing this and going to this particular test page, refresh this page, no major changes, h1 remains same. Tags are case insensitive. Next point is white space. White space means if for any reason if we add a lot of white space here and save this page, it will actually not reflect on my page. Okay, HTML browser will read the next element after one element, and for this white space there is no changes on this page. Okay, let's move to our next slide. Just checking everything whether it is visible or not. Okay, I think my camera is not visible, making it visible. Okay, thank you. So dear friend, in headline we discuss about the title tag. We are keeping one sample file here so that the basics are clear. First we are going to make the basics clear, and then we'll move to advanced level coding or something. But first of all we are to make the concept clear. So in a document you can see the head part is not visible on browser, only body part is visible on browser. We are going to talk about the script tag later. Using script you can add a script to this page. So script tag is necessary when you are going to add some sort of JavaScript on your page. So script in HTML is a simple tag that you can use for adding some script here. See script, and inside that script we can write JavaScript. So as JavaScript is not a scope of our today's discussion, so we are not going to discuss about JavaScript here, but inside this script tag we can add some script. Similarly, inside style script we can also add some style related code on a HTML page. Okay, so we understood how to use script and style. We can also add script just before the closing the body tag, so that we can add some external script to our page. Okay, next important thing is a link command. Link command is used for linking one external file to your page, like linking one Java style sheet. Here in this particular example I am going to link one external style sheet to this page. So this is link, then we need the relationship with this page. Here is a style sheet, and then we need a path of this file. For giving the path of this file we use href, and the file is a style.css, and this tag. This particular tag has no closing tag, so we need to create this style. Suppose we are here we are creating new style file, style.css. Now this CSS file is empty. Here in this CSS tag, in this style tag we are adding one CSS code, although it is not a scope of today's discussion what is CSS, but we are adding one CSS. Say the P is means paragraph, as a p has a property color red. Save. When we refresh this page, we can see the paragraph text is red now because we have used this red. Suppose we are using it green, apply, save, it is green now. Now this style related information is copy, cut, and we paste it here, and we are removing this style and save. You can see there is the same effect because of this link command. Here we are making this color say purple and saving it. You can see the color is now purple. If we add some body background, body and background color, say this aqua color, and save, you can see the color is now aqua. So this is CSS. We'll discuss CSS in another class, but here in HTML we want to clarify everything related to HTML. Okay, this tutorial is for beginner level web developer, so we are trying to cover everything from the basics. We have a presentation file here, link, we understood style tag, we understood the link tag. Now we need to understand the base tag. Base tag is not so popular, but it is important. Generally we define the domain name using the base tag where the page is hosted, but it is rarely used. But the meta tag is most important. What is meta tag? Meta, this word is a little bit less popular. Meta means you are giving more information about this page, and these informations are actually not visible on the browser. Okay, only if someone see the code view of the page, then they can view that information. So here we are, I think my cam is not visible. Okay, let me make this cam visible. Okay, now cam is visible. It is little bit tedious work when you are live and recording something. Anyway, I'll be accustomed with this and I'll try to deliver you the best quality tutorial. This is a little bit of promotion, but I don't like promotion. Okay, we are going to talk about the meta. Using meta, we are going to add one meta information on this particular page. We don't need script right now. Now first thing, we are giving meta character set UTF-8. Meta is also a self closing tag. That means it has no closing tag, just one tag. Okay, so here character set UTF-8 means we are going to use UTF-8 character set in this particular page. What is character set? You can make a research on Wikipedia. I use this app for explaining the basics. So character set is an encoding. So it is generally it is used for electronic communication. You can read a lot of things about character set here. UTF-8. So UTF-8 is okay. So UTF-8 is a electronic communication encoding. It is just denoting that what type of character set you are using in this page. Okay, we are not going to discuss more. Other description are meta. Now using name, you can you can add many meta information. So we are attribute name is name, and here we are giving description of the page, and description as another. When you are using description, the content, like this is a test page, here you can write a lot of things about the page, and this information is helpful for search engine optimization. So what is search engine optimization? At this point it is not part of our discussion. It helps a page in ranking high in search result, and that is our preliminary understanding. Okay, in future if we have time to discuss about what is search engine optimization, we'll discuss meta, then name. Keyword is the what are the keyword is used in this particular page. So we can give this information content. Say it is discussing about web design. Let me increase the size so that you can view this. Web design, comma, it is discussing about SEO, it is discussing about YouTube. Okay, so we can use these keywords. Important part is these informations are not visible on the front page of your, on the visible area of your web page. Okay, these are only visible in source view. Let's go to control U, the source view. You can see these informations are visible in source view. Now next important meta is viewport. Name of this meta is viewport. Using viewport, you actually define on which device you are going to display this particular page, and what would be the zoom view, or what would be the size of the device. So content, here you will write width is equal to device width, and the zoom or initial scale for denoting the scale is equal to 1.01. okay, anything. This is the information about viewport. If you do not, just one tip, if you do not use this particular line, then you cannot make your page responsive for mobile devices. It will display just like your desktop on mobile device. This is one important tip. And if you want to learn more about what is viewport, you can go to Wikipedia and search viewport and HTML. Viewport HTML. Not enough articles are there about HTML, but let's refer to HTML document. So we are going to create one form right now, as simple form. But let's move to our meta is covered. Our next item is block element and inline elements. All these elements are actually inline elements. The difference between the block element and inline element is very simple. When you look at these particular code, these are actually inline element. For h1 is an inline element. When you use h1, the next element, the p tag, start after one line, or start in a new line. Look at the layout here. Look at the layout. All these elements like h1, h2, h3, these are coming in new lines. Just right after one line, this new element is displayed. And inline elements are generally displayed on the same line. For showing this in practical, we will need to use some example. So I am giving one example here. Let's view this with WordWrap. So there is a lot of text available here. So we are dividing this into two paragraphs. Like here is one paragraph and here is another paragraph. Okay. So paragraphs are inline elements in a page. So when we view this particular page here, we see there are two paragraphs right now. In this page, there are two paragraphs available. For any reason, if we just want to make this text say green, so in that case we can use a span. Span is not a inline element, so we are using span here, and span close, save. Then look at the text. This span is not created another line, just like h1 and p. It has not created another line, so it is not an inline element. Okay, so now we can use for span, color is a green. Save and look at the update. You can see this particular item is now green. So we can understand the inline element and block element. Just one recap here. Just I think something is not clear, 100% not clear. What I have discussed right now, I apologize that actually These are all block elements. A simple thing. These are all block elements. This H1, P, all are block elements. This pen is a inline element. I'm just writing this for so that you do not forget it. Taking a new item. Okay, here block element are H1, say P, div, all are, or H2, everything are block element. A tag and inline elements are like span, because say if you use, this is your document, if you write a lot of text here and this one is H1, this one is H1, this one is a block, and P is also creating a block, but span does not create a block. It start right after the previous element. Okay, this is a very important concept about block and inline element. So, and now there is another element called BR, break. Break element is like we can create a break here. Say we want to create a break here in this paragraph, so just use BR tag. We are using BR tag here. Save. It will increase the space. Similarly, one more tag is HR. We can create a horizontal line. You can see a horizontal line is there. What is our next? Headline tags we have already discussed. Strong, it makes little bold. EM, it makes the text a little italic. Just try, let us try this. We want to make a particular text italic. This last text, EM, start and EM close. Save, and let's see, this is now italic. Our next slides discuss about horizontal line. We have shown horizontal line is for HR. Just checking whether camera is showing. Yes, let us take a new slides here. So this HR tag create a horizontal line. Code block, there is code inside /code. That means in an HTML page, if you want to show some code, then you can place this code sign. Let me show you some example here. For example, I want to show some code after that. So I'm using, after the P tag, you have to remember the nested code close. Inside code we are adding some HTML code like this. Save. Let's see what happened. This image is showing, it's not showing the code. Okay, this is a drawback of HTML. Okay, we can, is it possible to show the code here? Save, show. The code is not showing here. Let us write something like a CSS code. Copy, and we are placing this CSS code here. Now it is showing in this code in a different style. You can see this code is showing in a different style. There are other text tag available. Now we are going to talk about list. So there are two types of list available. One is ordered list and another is unordered list. Ordered list are like bullet points. UL means ordered list. Link item L or ULLI. This is your first item, and then again ULLI, second, and then third item. Save. Let's see the output. This is called unordered list because there is no number visible here. If we just change UL to OL, OL means ordered, and save, we can see these are converted to numbers 1, 2, 3. Okay, next there are other tag related text related tags are available. We understand almost everything about href or link item. Now let's move to container tag. Container tag in an HTML file, there are various type of container page structure related tags are available, and page structure related tags means article, section, div tag, etc. So let us explain this with little screenshot. Okay, so in container tag we are talking about container tag. Generally a page looks like this. This is one HTML page, and say this one is our header, this one is our footer. Header for H, footer for F, and this one is a sidebar, a side, and here we are writing our h1 tag and a paragraph. So this one is say an article. This one is the article, and we can create various section in a page, and all those sections are actually consist of some divs. This concept is very important. Let's see what is mentioned in the HTML documentation about page structure. The documentation is quite lengthy. Before some basic understanding, it is really difficult to explore everything of the documentation, but if you look at the headlines and just scroll a few information, you can understand that these documentation actually are discussing everything in more detail. So Control F, and let us try to find out here the word article. So article, they have not used article. Section is used for many purpose. Okay, so we are not going to element of. Then the navigation part. Now we just get an idea. These are article, tag, and sections are navigation, means the main navigation where you can see the about us, contact us, etc. links. So this is the name. A site is actually part of your site where you where the information is not important. You can place various ad and etc. on the side, or link on the side section. Header is this area and footer is this area, and main means the whole part is the main section. Whole part is the main section. So a lot of drawing, just we try to explain various part of a HTML document. Now the next part is form. Form is a little bit lengthy. We will just create a simple form here using form tag. Let's move to our documentation and try to find form. I think this basic information shows some form related topic. Here is a form. We are going to create a form here. The tag is form. Using form, we collect some information from the user, like a contact form, send information to site owner. It is sending some message. So here, using a form, we can send some data to the server. So form tag also has some attributes. So most important attribute is action. So at present this is empty, action is empty, and the method is say get method, and there are two types of methods available, get and post. No further discussion about this, just try to remember there are two types of methods available. And now we are going to give label for what attribute is for say first name, and the label is first name. Here we are adding one input box, text box, input type text, and its id is a first name, and a name which is again first name, and this input tag is closed. Now we are using a beer tag for adding a new line, because input is not a block element. So again we are going to copy this whole thing and paste, and changing this as last name, and last name. Now we need to add an input field. Same input type is say submit, or we can use a button here, submit, and then the value is submit, and the tag is closed. This is a simple form. Let's see the output here on this page. This is our form. The space is not enough, first name and last. Okay, so we have created a simple form. There are password field, number field, hidden field. So in a form there are a lot of attributes available, like we can create one password field. Similarly, just copy and paste. Here the name is password, and here it is password, type is password. When you give this particular type to an input box, this actually hide this text name password. Save. Look at the output here. When I'm typing something test, it is hidden because it is a password input text. Okay, so we have learned many things today about HTML basics. We can set some default value, and we can set some hidden field. We can set some hidden field. When we are adding hidden field, then this particular input box will not be visible. For example, if we want to hide this last name from this particular form, then go to this code and instead of text type it hidden. Save. Now on this page, this last name is hidden, last name field is hidden. And when you are giving a hidden URL, hidden input box, then there is no need to add a label for that. So generally a page when a page use some hidden field, what is the use of this hidden field? Using this hidden field, you can collect additional information. Those information are not visible by user, like particular time when this form is submitted. Okay, what is our next slide? Required field. A required field means sometimes some fields are required. That means you must have to fill this particular field, so that is called the required field. So how to make one particular field a required field? A required field, just give me some answer. Just it is a quiz for you. How to set one field as a required field? Think. You want to make one input box a required field, then how to do this? Very simple. Just go to this particular field and inside input use a word, just required. That's it. When you are adding this required keyword in this form, it will be a must required field. So if I submit this, it is showing please fill out this particular field. So it is a required field. Then the form will not submit it with the submit button. A user must have to fill this particular field. So we understood what is a required field. Okay, and email is again a type, for now we are adding one more field here, and type is email. ID is email and name is email. You can set any name for this name and ID. These are not necessary email for email, but you have to match this for and ID, for attribute and ID. So let's see what is the changes. So it is showing email. So email letter automatically suggesting user to fill a email. So what we have covered from this slide, let's check. So we have covered input tag. We understood how to use an input field with email type equal to email. Just you can note down this, and then ID and name. Password is same, just type is password. Then number same. Hidden field, we understand how to just type hidden. For default value, how to set default value for a input field. Just it is again another quiz. How to set some input default value for an input box. That means if someone is not filling that field, then you are going to set some default value to an input box. Is it possible in HTML? Question. Setting some default value for HTML. How to set this property? You can do this using JavaScript. You can set some default value, but in HTML there is no information available. We understand the form submit, form validation. For form validation, you need to use some JavaScript. In HTML5 there is some basic form validation, but JavaScript is more interactive. HTML5 form validations are very simple. For example, it can, if you are using some input box as email, then it will ask for email ID. That means if the user use any other information, it will ask for email ID. So HTML has some form validation, little, but for advanced level form validation you have to use JavaScript. Our next slide is about other fields like button, file upload. Using file upload field you can upload a file, buttons, checkbox, then date and time, color. These are some other types of elements that are used in a form, so you can check all those things. So when we'll come back in the next episode, we'll discuss about this. One more thing is iframe. Just I'm showing the iframe. Using iframe you can show another website on your web page. So here we are adding one iframe here in this, and the very beginning of the page, src, that means source, which URL you want to show in the iframe, http:// any website. So as for example, we are going to show this particular website. So copy this URL and paste, simple, and then give a title of this iframe, HTML doc, and then close this iframe using closing tag. Now let's see this page. You can see in iframe this page is embedded here. Okay, so this is the use of iframe. Next, image. How to add image, we have already shown how to add image. Here using image src you can add an image, and in image the alt tag is very important. If you are not adding an alt tag, then people who has no access to image, they cannot understand what is this image all about. So you are giving some description about the image. Okay, then for advanced level learner you need understanding about the accessibilities. So we have a video about accessibilities you can check out. We have also a basic HTML video you can also check out. We have some quiz about HTML in the next episode when we are discussing about HTML on the live tutorial. We'll do some quiz, and that will be a kind of knowledge testing about HTML assets. Inside the assets folder we are getting style.css. That's it. Let's start. Exclaim sign emit. So this is the basic HTML. Our website name is Travel Buddy. Clicking on go live, nothing is there. We want to achieve this. Okay, first we'll write everything text relevant to this site. All this text we are going to copy all this text from our PST file. This is the first step. So we have a logo and a navigation. So friends, as I said, I am going to copy the text from the PST. So first write those PST text. There is a navigation. So I'm using the text side by side so that you can see changes. We have a logo image, but we will add the image later. First let's talk about the text. UL li and a link. Inside the link about. Next again li, again link, inside link team. So we have to link Now look at the design. These links are used twice, so I'm placing this link twice. Then there is a section number 1 about 01 about. So we are using a p tag here, dot about, and inside this there is another p tag. We are going to copy this text from the PST file, copy, and placing it here. Let's view the wrap, word wrap. Look like this, and the next section, another paragraph, title team. Inside this there is a paragraph. We are going to copy this text, copy and paste. Next we have the two buttons. So we are going to create two buttons first, and then copy the tabs inside a p tag for now. Total 1 and total 2. Zero 1 and 02. Okay. Now a table is there, and inside, I think when I clicking toad plan, I can see this plan. When I'm clicking this particular toad plan, I will see another tab. So we are placing a table here. Inside the row there are two tabs, and the tabs one is date, another is text. For the multimedias that you can use on your HTML page, as multimedia item you can add some sound, video, image, animation as part of your HTML page. So what are the video file format that an HTML5 page supports? That are MP4, WebM, and OGG. There is another image format is available, which is helpful for lightweight images, WebP, and the kind of audio file that you can add on your HTML5 page are like .web, .mp3, .mp4, mpg, wmv, and .avi. Just remember this file type. I don't know when you are going to use this kind of things. Now let's see. And there are videos, you can use some audios. Your audio has some control, character control, and sometimes you will face some sort of interview question relevant to audio and video related things, like what is the use of track, and you can use some sort of plugins in your HTML page as an object. So in that case, object, then it has the attribute called data. In place of data you can place some images, and that will be attached to your HTML page. Okay, you can also add the YouTube videos using iframe, or nowadays the HTML, there is some code available for adding YouTube video on your HTML page. Now we are going to talk about the APIs relevant to HTML, because this conversation is going to be a very lengthy conversation. We spent almost an hour in this conversation. The benefit is that we are just revising the knowledge related to HTML, and if you are preparing for a front-end developer role, then looking at this information as the basic fundamental knowledge is helpful. And APIs, we are talking about the APIs. First API is the geolocation. Sometimes a page want to collect information about the location of the users. In that case, this white background geolocation is helpful. Many modern browsers support this. And for geolocation, you have to use some JavaScript, and this JavaScript is generally the get current position method is used for getting the position, and this position means the latitude and longitude of the internet user, and basically the IP address or the IP providers provide that information. The location information sometimes is not available because browser does not share that information, and if you are using private browser or proxy browser, in case the information is not possible, collecting this information is not possible. This is a little bit of advanced knowledge, but it is helpful when you are working with a backend developer who wants information about the geolocation related things. Just go through the documentation on W3 School website or W3C documentation, which is an advanced documentation of HTML, and there is some drag and drop feature possible in some modern browser using drag and drop API, and it is again a JavaScript related function, and like you have to create one to div where you can on drop and on drag over, on drag over. All those properties are a little bit of complicated for first time, and when you are using them frequently, you can save the sample code on your collection. Every developer has some sample code in their collection. Just create a local environment in your PC, create a lot of code that you can reuse time to time, and you'll get a collection of sample code. You can find various code from other people, GitHub repositories, in HTML related projects. You will find those things. Generally, when I was coding front-end development, I have a collection of all codes, and these codes are helpful when I'm reusing this code in my day-to-day work. And understanding the web storage, I don't think these are important knowledge, because your main focus is to deal with the layout, and if you are learning these advanced topics, it will not waste your time, because if you are not using this knowledge, then definitely it is a waste of time. But I suggest just go through these. Remember, this kind of technologies are possible in HTML, like session storage and the local storage. What is the difference between session storage and local storage? The major difference is the local storage will not expire, but the session storage will expire after the session. That is the major difference. This kind of knowledge is helpful when an HR is taking the interview, following some internet-based question and answer. He or she is not aware of the exact technologies, but he is looking for the answer that is written in the paper. So you have to give a good answer and explanation, and in practical, maybe this knowledge is not helpful when you are working with this kind of things. Okay, then web workers APIs are helpful for running some JavaScript in the background with some effect, and as a result your page shows some performance, removing this like on-click performance, selecting performance. So these web workers are start counting some number and then stop counting the some number, so your page is showing some sort of effects, and when you based on the buttons, in that case basically these are advanced level JavaScript that are used in HTML. And part of HTML, like the form input fields are input fields has some sort of validation nowadays in HTML background. So there is another thing is server sent event. Server sent event is also known as SSE API. Server sent event is necessary when your server is actually sending some sort of information to your page, and it automatically update to the page. So I think you can check various type of example in server side API in HTML. For example, your server can send the time related information on a page using a script, and this is called the server side scripting. So it is again an interview question, like what is the use of server sent event in HTML? The server sent event is like getting some stock update price, or getting some news feed or sports results from server on an HTML page. Just remember this thing, that server can send information on a page without refreshing the page, and some modern browsers support this, and you can show this using a simple JavaScript code. Like this JavaScript code will add some source file on your HTML page, and this source file will give some sort of data, and that data is displayed on a particular div and ID. So this knowledge is helpful for an HTML developer. Advanced level knowledge is helpful for an HTML developer when you are dealing with a front-end back-end developer who is creating a page which is server driven, and server side information is helpful. The next important point is remembering the keyboard shortcut of your IDE, and it will make your work faster. Like when you are dealing with browser, Control R will show the source view of the page. If you press the F12 button, it will start the Chrome's web developer tool. Understanding all the UI of a web developer tool is very important, and how to view the code, how to read the code, selecting a particular section. These sort of skills are helpful when you are dealing with the code modification or writing some new code. I think I'll need to show demonstrate this using some sort of example. And finally, there is a super important skill that you need to adopt in your day-to-day activities, like reading someone else's code. Like generally when you face the actual work environment, you get some existing code and finding the debug and debugging this code for specific purpose. And then reading someone else's code is very important, and you generally modify an existing template, and then that understanding the template you will find in the JavaScript section at the bottom. The previous developer added like 10 or 20 JavaScript frameworks. In the CSS section you will find the developer has used tons of CSS. Then debugging this page, looking at only the code relevant to a particular section is very important, and destructing other things during the work is very important. So this is the main super important skill set of a front-end developer when he is dealing with a new work, and if the task is like creating something from the scratch and it's simple design, it is faster than debugging another work. And when your backend developer, he has a little knowledge about the front-end development and he is instructing you to do something using JavaScript and CSS, this part is going to be a little bit challenging, time taking, research work. You need to spend a lot of time in finding a solution like sample code. So collecting a lot of sample code related slider, related to forms, and these are your code collection as a front-end developer. So create a folder in your local development environment, create some sample code, collect them. You don't know when these are going to be useful in future, and in the later next part of the course we'll discuss a little bit the platform specific HTML development, like HTML development for WordPress, JavaScript development for Drupal, Magento, etc. And margin and all this front end is going to development skills is going to help you in actual work. So I think this conversation is going to be a continuous series. It is not the end. So come back to the next episode and we'll discuss more and more about front-end development. Thank you very much for watching this video. Till then, take. Now we are creating some boxes based on the design. Design is like this. We are going to create the header section and a footer section, and inside this we are placing our other. Inside the header section we have one, and inside the footer section we have one copyright disclaimer. We can use the copyright symbol using and copy version 2023 or right to left. Now let's see what is the difference. Copyright symbol is there. Now we are going to add the logo file. We have one logo file. Write img emit. So img src/ss. Inside ss we have images. Inside images we have the logo. Save, and the whole file is travel.txt. We are going to copy it in various sections as per the design. One logo, two logo, three logos in total. So here one logo. This is our main body, and we are placing this logo once again. See the results. So three logos are added. Okay, other images are background, so we are not going to use them using image tag. Now we'll add the CSS for font file. We are using outfit as font, outfit regular. Just clicking on this font and you can see outfit regular. So this is a Google free font. Go to Google font
and here
margin is the space above the border. So this kind of box concept is very helpful when you are designing a design, when you are developing a design based on CSS coding, custom CSS coding. I think you already familiar with max width and
is already
minimum width. These are the maximum width of an element. It may be an image or a div, so you can set the maximum height, maximum width of any element like a div or a paragraph using CSS. Can you explain the box model of CSS? Box model, as I explained earlier, that considers some boxes. One box is inside another box. First box is the margin, and then the second box is the border, and the next box is the padding, and then the content. So when you are thinking about the spacing of any HTML element, the concept is like the most outer box is the margin, then the border, then the padding, and then the content. For making the content uppercase and lowercase, you can use the property of text transformation, and if you want to make some sort of decoration on the page, then using text decoration you can add underline on any font text. Regarding font, you can use Google font using some link. You can add Google font on your page, or otherwise the font, if the font is not available, then you have to convert the font file using font squirrel, and it converts any font file into web-friendly fonts, and you have to add the external font on your page. So I recommend using Google font because it makes the page fast loading page, because Google CDN help loading the page fast. What is font superfamily? When you are defining font family, you generally provide a set of font names, so that if one font is not working, then another font will work for that particular area. Using the font awesome CSS, you can add, and CSS and Jazz, you can add some sort of icon on a particular page, and this technique is helpful for adding meaningful icons on the design. You will need to do a lot of experiment using the CSS
now we are going to
styling in a table, because tables use various type of styling, like alternative color for rows, and creating some border for the columns. So in that case, dealing with the CSS property of style is very helpful. Display is another property for showing a particular font in bigger size. In case of display, display none will hide this item hide this item from the page. Display is actually a class of Bootstrap for showing bigger font, but by default it is a property that used for hiding some content. So if we use display none property for any particular element, then this will be hidden from the page. What is the use of JIT-index? JIT-index is a property using that if some elements are overlapping, then you can send one element back using its JIT-index property. For example, there is a h1 tag, and then you are placing an image, and then a paragraph is there. Now if you want to send this image just behind the h1 tag or the paragraph, then you can add the JIT-index property is equal to -1 for this image. Then you will see this image is going just behind, it will be placed behind the other two elements. So JIT-index is helpful for setting the position of element when a few items are overlapping with each other. What is the difference between overflow visible and overflow hidden? When you are placing some content like some text inside a div or a box, then you will see that the box has a fixed width or height, and the content is more than that height. In that case, the content is visible outside the box, and for that you have to set the property overflow visible. If you set the property overflow hidden, then the content outside this box will not be visible, and it is very helpful for when you are placing more content inside a small box. What is the use of float and clear in CSS? Float is a property that we use in case of clearing some space on either side, like on the left side or right side of the element. Suppose you are writing one paragraph, and after that you are placing an image within the second paragraph. In that case, your layout will be like one first paragraph, then the image, then a lot of white space on the left side, and then the next text of the image. So if you place a float property on the image, then image will float on the left or right side depending on the property of the float. And what is the use of clear property? Clear property specify what should happen with the element that is next to a floating element. Suppose you have used the floating right or left to a particular image, and after that you are using a div, then this image will be visible a little bit outside the div. In that case, if you use the property clear left in this particular div, then you will see that the image is placed nicely within this box. So this clear property is helpful for solving this kind of issues. What is the use of the property display inline block? Suppose you have created two small div and their height and width is 100 pixels. In that case, if you are using display inline, then you will see two small boxes side by side based on their content. And suppose these boxes has only two words, you will see two words are placed side by side. If you use inline block, then the item will show in with the height and width according to the property of the box, like you are adding some 100 pixel height and width in a particular div, then inline block will show that item with that height and width, although the content is small inside that. And when you use the property display block, then these two items will place one after another. Form element use various type of CSS property. For designing a form with CSS, especially after developing a form, if you want to make some styling change of the form, then attribute based selector is helpful. Like after input, if you write the word type is equal to text inside a third bracket, then it will select only the text input field. If you place the property type is equal to password, then it will select only password input field. And we are going to create a container here. Here our container width is 1200 pixels. So we're creating a class called container. And its width is 1200 pixel, and margin is on top. We are creating another class called grid, and inside grid our heading is say 20 pixel 0, and grid display, grid template area, generate column, to 1FR, align item, center, and gap, pixel. We are going to create another class called flex. Display flex direction. Direction is column, gap, is 15 pixel. These are very important for various part, and it is better to use section by section. For example, first you work on the navigation and header section, then work on the footer section. If header and footer section is completed, then go for the other sections. Now it's the time for quiz. How to check your knowledge and skills relevant to CSS. So first of all, what is CSS? CSS stands for cascading style sheet, and it is a language that used in HTML document for describing the style of a page. It is not a basic tutorial, so I'm not going to give you introduction of all the CSS related code, but it's a kind of discussion that will help you to revise your knowledge based on CSS style sheet. First question is, what is the rule of CSS syntax? So CSS rule consists of two major parts. One is the declaration and the other is the selector. Using selector, you select a particular element and HTML element, and using the declaration you add some sort of style. For example, your element is h1, that is the header one, and you are selecting by it using h1, and within parenthesis you are declaring to property like color blue and font size 20 pixel. So in that case you are adding two property. One is the color of the font and another is the size of the font. So here this particular rule has two declaration, one color, another is font. In that case the font size is called the property and the 20 pixel is called the value. This is how we define a CSS rule. What are the various types of selector available in CSS? CSS selectors select a particular HTML element and it adds some property to that HTML element. We can divide CSS selector into 5 categories. The categories are simple selector. I am directly selecting a particular element like h1 and adding some value, that is the direct selector. Combinator selector means we are combining 2-3 selector with comma and applying same property in all the element. In that case this rule is called the combinator selector based rule, and another rule selector is pseudo selector, like a tag and add a colon visited. When the link is visited, we are adding a different color. Then in that case, this particular selector is called the pseudo selector. Other selector is pseudo element selector. Pseudo element selector is a little bit different, like P and double colon first line. That means we are applying the color only on the first line of a paragraph, and this is called the pseudo selector. You can also use pseudo selector for selecting only the first list item of a ULLI, something like this. Another is attribute based selector, like your element is A and you are within the bracket you are selecting only the target and then adding some property. So this kind of selector is called the attribute selector. Generally this question is little bit of advanced level. This type of selector is little bit of advanced level. How to write clean code for CSS? For clean coding, it is better to group various sections relevant to the design, like place all the general styling in the first section, and then select one section by section. Like for header section, write all the CSS code in a block, and you can create this block using CSS commenting. So CSS commenting is started with this backslash asterisk sign and close this comment with the asterisk forward slash. So commenting is very important for clean CSS coding. Although comment plays no role in the output of the page, but comments help the developer who is reusing this code in future. What are different types of color available in CSS? You can define the color of font background of element, CSS element. The color predefined colors are like RGB color, HEX color, HSL color, RGBA color. So, and there are around 140 standard colors name available, so you can use direct color name for the colors. What are the major background properties that you can add in an HTML element? We can add background color of an HTML element. We can add a background image to an HTML element. We can repeat this image, and we can attach this image, and we can set some position for the image. So the standard property is background, and these are some helpful property that we can use for styling. Can you explain the difference between CSS margin and CSS padding? It is very important understanding for any front-end developer. Margin is generally the space between the previous element and the next element, and it creates some space around the element. So in case of padding means the difference between the border and the content of the element. Suppose you are creating one paragraph and you are adding some border to that paragraph, then the space between the border of this paragraph and the text is the padding, whereas the see a drop cap here. Another is flex. Now next is the footer section, and next is another container. Inside this container we are going to place these tab content and table content. Now let's see the output. Now output is look like this. Is it responsive? No, we are not working in responsive section. We are working responsive section later. Now we'll work on the background images. Look at the image first. We have one big background, 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 backgrounds, so we need 4 classes for applying these backgrounds. Okay, so first background is for the header section, so we'll use a class for adding this. My tips is going to help you in learning HTML as a front-end developer, and it is not the exact tutorial that is covering everything of HTML in just one video, and you are just feeling bored and sleepy after watching this animation. Lot of jargons, some things are unknown to you, because when a instructor is teaching you this particular skill, he is not aware of your background. Maybe you have already created one nice HTML page, and you think that my knowledge in HTML is not sufficient. I want to improve. I need a roadmap to improve this, and I'm something I'm missing, and in that case this tips is going to helpful for you if you are still watching this video till up to this section, or you are it is going to help you. There is another thing is that when you face a problem, and finding a solution from the Google or other resources is very important. I was thinking about revising all the HTML related information or HTML related knowledge, and I was trying to create a simple video showing all the basics, but the problem is that again it is really little bit boring, because you don't know, the audience is already aware of some knowledge, and you are showing the same thing on the computer screen from ABC, and it is not going to helpful for actual professionals. So I'm looking at the people who are going to take it as a profession, and I don't think you need a computer graduation for that, or an advanced level knowledge in computer. Just you can start creating front-end development, try to adopt those skills in your work, create some sort of portfolio, and then you can monetize your skill. You can get some online project, or you can join a local web development company as a front-end developer. Now again the quiz time. Quiz or question answer or interview time. Okay, you already familiar with the element meta? Why you use a meta in a particular page? Because this element is used in the header section of the page, and it is a very important element for setting various type of properties of the page, like character set of the page, like page description, like keywords of the page, then author of the page, document generator, then if you want to refresh the page in every 30 seconds, or if you want to set the viewport of the page, so viewport. So important meta properties, attributes are character set. Character set is important for what type of character you want to show on your web page. Generally UTF-8 is the common character set for HTML pages if you are writing your web page in English. Okay, for other language I think the character set is a little bit of different. Okay, and then the keywords, the description, keyword and description are helpful for SEO purpose. Author, you can add author name, website author name, in using the attribute name and content. Then viewport is for very important property for making the website responsive. Why we use viewport code is very important tips. First, viewport has two attributes in the content area, in the content section. First, we give width is equal to device width. What does it mean? This means that this page is it will follow the screen width of the device. And the next is initial scale is equal to 1.0. that means when initially the page will be loaded on the browser, it will show the zoom level. It will show the initial zoom level, and that means the page will not zoomed. And this knowledge is very important. If you do not use this tag, then your page will not show responsive behavior when someone is reducing when the user is reducing the width of the page. Some tags are relevant to layout of the page. They are symmetric tag like header, name, section. All are block elements, aside, article, and footer, and these define different section of the page. First of all, what is the use of aside? This is a question, interview question generally you face when you go for interview. It defines the content aside from the main content, like a sidebar or etc. And generally you can place an ad or some sort of JavaScript code there, and these techniques are helpful for creating the layout of the page. So HTML symmetric is something that you can study. What is symmetric item and non-symmetric item? Non-symmetric item are div, span, etc. Symmetric items are like form, table, articles. So symmetric element clearly describe its meaning to both the browser and developer. Okay, what is HTML entity? Because the character set or has no sign for some symbol, we use the entity character entities like entity name or entity number for showing some symbols like a dollar sign or a pound sign or a copyright sign. The entity name for copyright is ampersand copy semicolon, and if you want to use the entity number, then ampersand hash 169. So it is not easy to remember all the number, so you have to use some references. You can save this from the internet, and there are some critical signs generally we face in non-English character, and in that case you will have to find the relevant character name for that. As the social media is growing fast, and in our conversation in article we use various type of emojis, and emojis characters are part of giving some sort of emotion to your content, and HTML developer uses various type of character code for emoji characters like smiley or love sign or something like that. So you can use ampersand hash and a particular number for emoji. Your character set must be UTF-8, and this is how you can use emojis. Understanding the URL encoding is also important tips, like you want to link a page on your page, and that link or you want to link a file on your page, and particular file is using some sort of space in the name, or in that case it is difficult to add a space in the URL. So the best solution is encoding the URL. In that case the space is converted into another character, and when this URL is typed in the address bar, it shows the exact file. So URL encoding, you will find a tool that generally convert a URL into encoded URL, and you can do this easily. Another interview question: what is the difference between HTML and XHTML? So XHTML stands for extensible hypertext markup language. So it is generally XML based version of HTML. What is XML? You need a separate video on understanding the XML. And the major difference is that when you are writing something as an HTML page, your browser will ignore a little bit of error in the code, but when you are writing something in XML, it will follow some strict rules and it will handle the error. So generally the dynamic pages with some database use XHTML, but now it is obsolete. And in XHTML, the document type needs a little bit different code at the initial line, whereas in HTML5 you can just use document type HTML tag in, and XHTML use a long tag. You can find this in W3C's W3 School's website, and I refer W3 School because it is a very good simplified document of HTML for a beginner level learner. Next interview question and topic is form. Can you tell me the basic code of a form in HTML? Yes, the form is a semantic tag. Form start with the keyword form and close with /form, and inside that we place the form elements like level of the input field, level, and for which particular input field. Each input field has a name. So input started with type. What type of input field it may be check or a submit button or a simply text field. So input item has type attributes like type, ID, and name, and obviously another thing is value. So if you are only doing the front end part of the HTML work, you don't need the modification that relevant to backend coding, and you can just match the layout of the design and the form using your HTML code and CSS. Styling the form using CSS is another skills, and then we'll discuss that in our style related conversation or CSS related video. What is the major attribute of a form tag? The major attribute of a form tag is action and method and target. These are the major attribute. In action, you provide an absolute URL of the page, like after submitting this form, the page will be redirected to that file. And there is another attribute called get and method. When you use post, there is another attribute is method. Method has two values, post and get. When you use post, then all the form data is sent to that particular file that is written in the action, and if you use get, then all the data will be sent to the URL of the redirecting URL. So what is the major difference between get and post? When you use get, it append the form data to the URL, and when you use the post method, then the form data is sent to the next page and an HTTP request. So form submit the post. So if you use post in a form, then data is not going to the URL. That is the major difference. And another important difference between get and post is that when you use a post method, there is no limit of the total amount of data from the form. Like your form has say 50 fields, you can send all this data using post method. When you are using the get method, there is a character limit, like you can send 2048 characters using the get method. If the number of data or amount of data is more, then the get function will not work for the form. So this is a technical side of get and more. Now we are going to talk about a very important property of HTML5, which is called the canvas. Using canvas, you can draw something using JavaScript on your HTML5 page, like you can draw a line, a circle. So canvas is an element where you that is supported by all modern browser, especially the latest version of browser. You can draw a graphics on the fly using JavaScript, and canvas tag has a attribute like the ID of the canvas, then width and height of the canvas. Then you can draw a circle, you can add some sort of effect on the text, like outline of the text or adding some gradients. So all those things are possible using canvas. It is a graphics HTML graphics. And there is another thing is important for graphics, is called SVG. The full form of SVG is scalable vector graphics. That means these graphics will change its size depending on the browser size or device size. So if you draw something as an SVG file, or if you add something as an SVG file, this particular shape will change when you change your browser size and change your web page, zooming effect, etc. Now we are going to talk about now let's see. Okay, nice. Now we need to work on this text. In the text, background is gray and the text color is white. So for this background, we'll use a div here. Say class bg gray. Dot bg gray, and the here using say background color, and the background color is this one, and we're using a font color. Color this one, and we are going to use one font family. Font family is same as 2, and font size one rem or 1.5 rem. We are using font weight 300 because we have 300. Okay, let's see. Okay, we need a little bit of padding because the design is not matching. Okay, let's add some padding. Adding 15 pixels. Okay, now it's okay. Okay, let's work on this section now. The design of this section is like this. Okay, we'll work on the slider section later. So here we need to apply the grid class for placing this left and right. So we're going to use one grid here. Let's see the changes. Changes is okay. You want this font a little bigger and readable. So we are going to apply one class in this particular section, and let's call this class as key. Okay, I'm going to and inside the theme we are actually using the same font and color, except the color. We're going to use the same font, heading, everything. Okay, let's see the changes. Okay, the changes is right now looking readable. Our main focus is to make the content more readable to audience. CSS to CSS is the Scout app. You can download the Windows version from here, and there is a nice YouTube video relevant to this. And here the screenshot shows that once you install this particular app on your device, you can select the project folder, and then this project folder will provides you some input folder and output folder. In the output folder you can select the production or development version. Then these you can select multiple projects. So there is a console section. It is actually using your web developer tool. So there is a console version we can see the error relevant to this. Some best resource for understanding CSS is the developer guide of mozilla.org. You will find very nice documentation, and you can get good explanation and example here. So I recommend reading this section, especially when you are dealing with some sort of confusion regarding any property or CSS. Then you can use this. Here you will also find some good explanation, like what is CSS. CSS allow you to create great looking web pages, but how does it work under the hood? This article explains that what CSS is with simple syntax and example that is covered here. So here you will find various type of sample code, so you can do some experiment. For example, this one is a sample HTML code, and here we see there is no CSS property is added. And then when a particular external CSS file is added, like style.css, and we are adding a property here. h1 is the selector, and this is the CSS rule, and CSS rule has one declaration. The color is red, and so now you can read the CSS files. Here you can see various type of behavior change due to this code. List type none means the output will show no dot for the list item. And just to revise those things, styling thing based on the state, like it is attribute based selector. Link, when a particular link is not visited, it is pink, and when it is visited, it will show green. And when you are adding some hover, you can set another color. Then this sample code, like selecting as a combinator, that means when you can use plus, or you can set items using comma. So there is a summary of this tutorial, and here is a structure of CSS file, external CSS files, how to use them. There are some inline CSS, like H1 is using some inline CSS here. So how to use the property and value. Okay, this font size is the property, width is the property, background is the property, and value you can set various type of values. Rules, rules, like importing another CSS file using import command. So import is helpful for adding some external CSS file, and the most important part is understanding the media query, because media query is relevant to the responsive behavior of a page. So what is media query? So media query is a rule, like you can check some example guide here how to use this media query in your CSS. So here media print, that means this particular CSS will be applicable for print view, and media screen, then media over. When media maximum width of the screen is to 1250, then this particular rule is applicable. So media within parentheses is max width 1250. And then you can also set orientation like landscape or orientation portrait. You can also set styling for monochrome. Another important thing, how this CSS works. So CSS actually work on your browser side when the HTML is loaded, and it convert the HTML into document object model, and document object model represent the document in the computer's memory. A document object model is explained in a bit of more details in other sections. So when the phases are like this, when the HTML file is loaded, then it parses the HTML and it creates the DOM tree, and as a result we can see the display, and during the parsing it loads the CSS code, and CSS code also attach with the DOM nodes, and then we can see this display. So understanding how these CSS work is important, and when you are building some CSS block, you need a little bit in idea about the inheritance property, and like if you applying some property to the list item, then all the child item will follows the same rules. So how one property is associated with. Now we want to make this one slides, so we'll use a owl slider here, and for now we need a little bit of tab here, tab and boxes. Here in the hotel section, we are going to apply the tabs. Let's call this whole section as tour plan. So our class name is tour plan. So inside tour plan, we are going to create two tabs. But before that, let's write a little bit of CSS for the tour plan class. Save. This section is for the tour plan slider. Okay, so tour plan display flex and flex direction. Direction is column. Align items. Start. I need this, and inside this we are placing the whole content of this tables. Two tables. This one is actually the container, so we are going to place these content inside this store plan. Save. Let's see the output. No major difference. Look at the design. We want something like this. So we are going to use some input radio button here. Input type is radio, and this is checked. Another radio button, same. It is not checked. We are giving some class and ID to this class radio. ID said this one is 1, and another is same class radio, ID is 2. As a result, what we can see here, we see 2 radio buttons. There is some spelling error. We see some 2 radio buttons. Similarly, you can select a specific kind of element of a form like text area or a button for more styling. What is the use of SASS or SASS? SASS is a little bit advanced level CSS coding, and you can define some variable like $, background color, and give some information as value like light blue or light green, etc. Then text color, another color. Then you can use those variable in the coding, and as a result you don't need to change the code of all the section. If you change only the value of the variable, then the whole page will show a different style. What is SASS stand for? SASS stands for Synthetically Awesome Style Sheet. SASS is an extension of CSS, and SASS is a CSS preprocessor. So you can use some variable value in the CSS code. Can you explain the difference between the SCSS and SASS and CSS? So these 3 terms are a little bit advanced level CSS knowledge. You need some additional software on your computer for processing the SAS file. Generally, there are various type of free and open source applications are available. One of the good open source free software is Scout App. SCOUT, scout-app.org is the website from where you can .io is the website. Scout-app.io is the website. You can download this app for Windows, and once you install this Windows, you can select your project and it will provide you some input folder and output folder. In the input folder you will write these CSS code, and in the output folder it will create the CSS file. So CSS is a preprocessor. So if you are writing some code using the CSS coding, the CSS this particular software will convert that code into CSS file. What is nesting in SCSS? So CSS will allow you to write your CSS coding based on the visual hierarchy of your HTML page. For example, you are creating some navigation, and then within the nav selector you can set the property for UL and LI, and as well as for the link item, that is for the A tag. Then in the CSS, in this code you don't need to use any sort of second bracket. In CSS you will find the code will automatically remove the semicolons. You don't need to write semicolons there, and when this CSS file is converted into the CSS file, then it will use the plain CSS code. What is mixin? So mixin is a special advanced level coding for CSS3, and it lets you make a group of CSS declaration that you want to reuse throughout your site, and it will help keep your CSS code very dry. What does it mean? That you can even pass in value to make your mixin more flexible. So generally these are used in themes to use a directive @mixin, and that is its name, and you can add a name like mixin, then theme, and inside that you can pass a parameter theme dark gray, and you can use a set of properties as your mixin property. The easiest way of processing a CSS and HTML. Oh my god. There are plenty of frameworks available like Bootstrap, Tailwind, and I don't know who is now using the old technologies like doing something using Dreamweaver, and whereas VS Code and the web developer tool of Chrome. These two tools are good enough for creating a nice, good, slicky HTML. And then there are so many tips and tricks are involved in doing this kind of things. You can do testing using modern browser and mobile browsers as well. So the role of new technologies and techniques are making this front-end development a little bit complicated when you are dealing with JavaScript based frameworks, and the syntax are a little bit different for front-end developers, because who is going to create a simple and static website nowadays, where this particular field is now more competitive with complex functionalities, and then for that you have to be up to date in front-end development. If you look at some modern HTML page, you will see that when the page is loading, there is some sort of animation is there, and in all sections when you mouse over a particular area, you'll see some sort of movement here and there, like a mark you when I mouse over the images, the mouse effect is changing. So when the page is loading fast on the browser, you can see some text animation, and when scrolling all the sections, it is smoothly moving
from top to bottom. You can see some extra effect on the images, and then there is some sort of parallax effects, and then the good quality font and font sizes. Well, so this is just an example of a modern HTML web page, and if you want to begin a career in the front-end development, you have to be competitive as per the modern styles. So if you are a beginner, I suggest that after having your morning tea, just open W3 School and do a revision of all the tags. Obviously, you'll find some tags are very simple. You don't need to remember them, how to use them, what are the attributes you can use in this kind of tags. These are you can practice some sample quiz. Sample question and answer relevant to HTML. You'll find many interview question and answer on the internet. So as I said earlier, that in the morning you just open the W3 School and revise all the tags. And when I want to see some video tutorial on YouTube or Udemy, the problem is that the basics are like a little bit boring, because you are coming into this field, you are interested to become a front-end developer, and you have a little bit of basic idea how to create a simple HTML page. You know how to set the environment using VS Code and your Chrome editors, and then creating a simple HTML page is not a big deal. But when you try to research other people's code, like a complicated template where the animations are there are some sort of JavaScript and Ajax are used, studying those skills is very important. When someone want to take this particular career as a professional goal, like you want to earn money from these particular software skills, like front-end development, the problem is that you must be aware of using your modern technologies. You may be a Windows guy or a Linux guy. I don't know which kind of software, which kind of operating system you generally use in your day-to-day activities. So you need these basic computer skills, which is part of these front-end development journey. I personally, I was a teacher, mathematics teacher or a science teacher in my earlier career, in my first years of career after graduation. Then I spent 6 and 7 years in teaching, and then I jumped into web development, and the computer skills was clear. In fact, like how to manage files and how to you'll find some sort of computer related troubles in doing your work, like your internet connection is not working well. So in that case, I suggest that be clear about the technology. If you know how to do this, then side by side try to understand how it is working. So this is very important. So if you don't know the basic infrastructure of the IT mechanism, like how to send your work to the customer looking for the job, searching client, etc. So all those knowledge are relevant. Otherwise, you cannot monitor a skill. You will understand how it is working, but watching hours of videos on YouTube will create some sort of knowledge, and this knowledge is you need to organize them for your road, for your journey to this new world. So if you are a new graduate planning to learn HTML, and JavaScript, CSS for front-end development, then this conversation is going to give you the guide that a friend can give you in case of starting a new career. So the first, no major changes. The panel display none. Animation is fading. In some browser it will not work, older browser, so we are working for the newer browser. 0.8 second. Okay, so this is hidden for now. We want to make the width a little bit more. Make it 400 pixel actually. Okay, the width is now more. Now we are going to use animation, CSS animation, using keyframes, fading. For animation, we are going from opacity 0 to opacity 1. So this is our animation, keyframe animation. So when we are switching this tab, this animation will work. We need to write a little bit more code here. This radio display none. Now these radio buttons are not showing. It's okay. We need to work on the tabs. Just a few lines of code, and we can change this color right now. So make it white. Save. The color is changed, but the table content is not showing. Okay, it's fine. We will add this. Now let's see, we have two IDs here, ID1 and ID2. We are going to add code for ID1. ID1 check. When ID1 is checked, there is a tilde button, dot panels, ID1 panel, ID2 check. There is a tilde button. So I'm writing this code here. This is 2 lines of code. Panels 2 panel with this display block. Now the same things I'm going to copy again, and here we are changing this panel to tab. One tab, 2 tabs.
to tab. And the property is changed now, and the property background six color using this, or I think we have used this color. Is the double tag and border top. No border top, just for showing the selection. Okay, so 2 pixel solid dark color, same. Let's see. So this selection is now working due to this CSS, but according to this selection the content is not showing here. We want to show the content based on the selection. So for that we need to work a little bit more. Here in the tour plan we have used this, and the tab section we are going to use the cursor property. Pointer. And let's make the background color this, and this one is white. Save. Let's see. Okay, these selections are now working better here. The panels have the background color. Let's make it white. %, hidden. I need to work on the panel title as well. So instead of the captions, we are going to use panel title. Make the font color. These functions are not working. Need to work on this. So we are using here two IDs. We are going to use these IDs in the panel. Copy and another ID is this ID is to panel. Okay, let's see. Table 1, table 2. But one thing is missing here, the background. So we need to work on this background section. So we are making some editing here, like box color and the width, shape, and now you can see the tabs are working. Okay, now we are going to use some carousel here. So search all carousel. Find this page on GitHub. Then download, it is free. After downloading, extract the file, and then you will find some demos here. And this demo, look at the basic. We are going to apply this basic. So here is the tutorial. You need to add this JavaScript in the header section. So we are going to move to the header area and adding some script. And going to copy paste the JavaScript for this. This JavaScript is available in this here. We need to add the CSS and JavaScript file for that. So in this particular section, you can see they are using this class and the item class. Okay, so we are going to apply this in this HTML section. Inside this item, so we need a lot of items for showing the carousel. Display is showing a lot of images but no carousel. We are going to add the CSS and HTML, CSS and JavaScript from this basic demo. So look at the files here. Just we need to save this file to our JavaScript file and CSS file to our code. So here we are adding this. Obviously this file will be resided in the assets section. Save and going to copy this JavaScript. We are adding the relevant path. I'm going to save this file to our folder, asset folder. files are now added. Now let's see, this slider is working and it is also showing this button. So dear friend, now we need to work on the responsive behavior of this page. So we'll need to add some media queries. So this section, new section, is for the responsive mobile. I'll show you the basics. You can, based on this, you can create many beautiful responsive designs. So first one is for our media @ media screen, and the screen width is, you have to give the screen width here, max width say 1200 pixel. So in this case this property will show. And now suppose we are going to view this in tablet, that means 1024, and another is for the portrait view of tablet, like 786, and another is for very small screen for 568. This one is for laptop, tablet, two views of tablet and mobile. We only work on the container part here. Just if we reduce the size, we can see there is a horizontal bar is showing, so we want to remove this horizontal. So let's make the container max width 960 for this smaller screen, and copy this in other. When it is 1000, we are going to make it 740, and when it is 780, we are going to make it less. Let's do this. So we are looking in a iPhone size, and it is okay. Just we need to work on this font a little for mobile view. So this is, I think, the drop cap related span. Let's make it 3 pixel, 3 rem in mobile. Now we can see this is showing smaller. We can make this also small. So just copy this and place it here. Change the font size to rem and say 5 rem. Now in mobile it is looking good. In desktop or laptop it's okay. In Mac Pro it's fine. Macro resolution is a little high. We can remove this code which is necessary, not necessary. Just font size is changed. Let's see for mobile. Okay, so that's it, guys. Hope you like this video. We have completed our HTML and CSS, everything in just one video. A complete website development using Photoshop and CSS, HTML. Hope you like this video. Till then, take care. See you guys in another video.
If you are interested in any of these topics, please stick around till the end of this video for your new update. If you are liking this video, please hit the subscribe button, like the video and click the bell icon so that you can instantly receive any new update right on your YouTube homepage of your smartphone or smart device. Now let's get into the video.
The child property, parent property is associated with the child property. This concept is important. Understanding box model is important. So CSS selector, we have already discussed about the attribute selector, pseudo selector and combinator. Background and border, dealings with background and border is important, and you will get many examples in this tutorial, various type of examples. So CSS building blocks, what are the CSS building blocks? Selector, then background color, overflow of the content, understanding overflow of the content, which you already discussed, understanding the image and media, debugging CSS. You can debug the CSS using the web developer tool. So these are the good resources for CSS. Some advanced knowledge like CSS based layout, use normal flow, flexbox. Flexbox is a one-dimensional layout method for laying out items and rows in column. So you can check your CSS using these tags. Like you can create this type of navigation using this ULLI. So various type of tags are available for practicing. Understanding CSS grid. Some good tutorials are available on the mozilla.org website. if you use this property display grid, and you use some grid template column, then you can see this kind of grid. So you can do many experiment with the CSS grid. There is a lot of thing to do with the this kind of properties, but for the beginner level you need to focus on the responsive design, because responsive design is very helpful skill for any front-end developer. You are dealing with various type of devices. So dear friend, I hope this tutorial is helpful for studying CSS and remembering some technology relevant to CSS coding, and you need some practice. Set your own challenge, like creating your own design into CSS, and then you can learn these skills very easily. So that was our introduction about CSS skill set. I hope you will find some question and answer relevant to interview, and for this kind of video, subscribe this channel, and I'll come back with another episode next time. Until then, take care of yourself.